Hello and welcome to Oxford, Ohio, on a not-so-beautiful day out on the diamond. It's the start of conference play in the MAC as the Miami RedHawks look to shrug off their non-conference play and start anew as they host the Toledo Rockets. I'm Reed Malmstrom along here with Luke West Polly, and we are moments away from getting underway here at McKee Field at Hayden Park. Luke, it's a pleasure being in the booth with you, and yeah, Miami's looking to shrug off their non-conference play here tonight.
Yeah, it's been a rough go at the start of the season for this Miami team. Hit the road, had a couple of tough series. They were here last weekend, had an okay showing against Siena. Were able to pick up that win, and then had a couple of midweeks that I don't think really went as planned earlier on this week, but this is where things really start to matter for these RedHawks headed in to MAC play. So very excited for that to kick off.
Yeah, as we get ready for first pitch, let's take you through the visiting Rockets starting lineup. Starting at shortstop and leading off, Jerron Williams. Batting second, playing in right field, Garrett Pike. Owen Jackson will be batting third. He's the designated hitter today. Mason Sykes is batting cleanup. He's at first base. Brian Fry batting 5-hole. He's at second base. Dante DiCello is batting in the 6-hole. He's playing third, a local to Oxford, Ohio. Caden Konzak is in left field. He's batting seventh. Braden White behind the dish. He's batting eighth. Scott Makowitz is batting 9-hole. He's playing center field. Connor Oliver on the bump, the lefty starting. Luke, what can you tell me about this starting pitcher for the RedHawks?
Yeah, transferred in from TCU, made his way into the Friday starter role for this Miami team. He's pitched 14 innings this year in 3 starts, 6.43 ERA, a big strikeout guy though. 8 walks and 29 Ks in 14 innings pitched for Oliver so far this year. Been an up-and-down start we mentioned for these RedHawks, but a guy that can fan a lot of batters on Fridays, Connor Oliver.
The first pitch to Jerron Williams misses upstairs, and we are underway. And, yeah, talking with Coach Hayden about Connor Oliver stuff. This is his 4th stop in his collegiate career. He's made stops at Wichita State, TCU. He's getting a lot more strikeouts than Coach Hayden originally anticipated. He knew he threw a lot of strikes, but he's getting a lot of swing and misses, which he thinks that earned run average will come down as they settle into the season. As the 2-0 is fouled straight back to the screen, it's 2-1.
Yeah, and he's a guy, he had 92 strikeouts when he was back in JUCO and just over 57 innings pitched at Wabash Valley, a solid JUCO team in Illinois.
A 2-1 is a check swing, fouled back, run it to 2-2. At Wabash Valley, one of the premier JUCOs. You hear a lot of big leaguers coming from that junior college. The 2-2, a breaking ball, called strike 3, and that's how we get underway here at McKee Field at Hayden Park. And while we have the moment, let's take you through how Miami's going to align defensively. In the battery with Connor Oliver is the starting catcher David Novak. Over at first base, Parker Lester. Dylan Baker getting the start at second base. Over on the left side of the infield, Evan Applewick, Cooper Weiss. Stephen Krause, Zach McDonald, and Benji Brokman will patrol the pasture out in the outfield from left to right. Garrett Pike, the left-handed swinging right fielder in the box, awaiting the offering from Oliver. It's a breaking ball that misses low and away.
Miami killer hit 2 home runs against the RedHawks last season on March 26th. Had a great year, was all MAC second team.
The 2-0 is fouled straight back. Yeah, he currently leads the Rockets in both home runs and RBIs. 5 big flies on the air, 16 RBIs, a .326 hitter. Just a deadly bat at the beginning of the lineup, and it's all knotted up at 2-2 after that swing and miss. And you see the defensive alignment, the shift. Evan Applewick, the third baseman's moving all the way over to the right side of the infield. Cooper Weiss patrolling the left side by himself, and the fastball on the outside for the second out. 2 called strikeouts. So bear with us on this broadcast. It is rainy weather. It's cold out here in Oxford, and it's windy. And we went to set up our original broadcast, and for safety measures of our equipment, we decided to bring everything in but the camera you see in front of you. So the first pitch to Owen Jackson is going to be fouled down the first base line, 0-1. Owen Jackson, a .340 hitter. 16 hits and 47 at-bats. It's a 1-1 count here to the lefty.
Yeah, one of a couple of guys from Kankakee Community College on this Rockets team, recruiting out of Illinois JUCO once more.
The 1-1 is in there for a called strike, and Oliver pounding that zone in the top of the first. The 1-2 offering. He kicks, deals upstairs. Oliver walking off the mound, but he's going to have to retreat back for the 2-2.
Yeah, I think he missed that one just high. Novak tried that frame, just a little upstairs.
A 2-2 offering. Off-speed pitch is set in the center field. Zach McDonald retreats for a step before coming back in. The wind is blowing out, but McDonald will have it for the third out and the top half of the first. We head to the bottom half here at McKee Field. Welcome back to McKee Field at Hayden Park. Reed Malmstrom along here with Luke West-Poley. We're getting ready for Miami's first trip to the plate. Luke, take us through their starting lineup.
So Evan Applewick going to be the leadoff man for the RedHawks at third base this afternoon. Benji Brokman moves into the two-hole in right. Zach McDonald batting third and center. Parker Lester, the first baseman, will hit cleanup. Cooper Weiss at short in the 5-hole. David Novak will catch and hit sixth. Tommy Harrison's the DH. He hits seventh. Stephen Krause in left field will hit eighth. Dylan Baker rounds out the order at second base. Reed, interesting, we don't see Rylan Zaborowski again here for the RedHawks as they put in Evan Applewick at third base. He's going to hit leadoff for them in this game, but continue to question. He's been one of the RedHawks' top hitters through this.
Yeah, he's batted 3-hole for the majority of this season. This is the second consecutive game not being in the starting lineup. He warmed up with the team, so I wonder what the case is for his absence from the starting lineup. Out on the mound for the Toledo Rockets, the lefty Noah Johnson, as the first pitch to Evan Applewick misses. Johnson, this is his fourth appearance, his fourth start on the year. He's got a 2-0 record, a 3.68 ERA. He has pitched 14 2/3 innings pitched, but not a whole lot of strikeouts. 18 Ks, at least not a whole lot of strikeouts compared to what Connor Oliver has put up on the young season. And he falls behind the starting third baseman, Evan Applewick.
Yeah, it's been a good start to the year, though, still for Johnson. Transferred over from Virginia Tech, played 3 seasons there. His usage with the Hokies kind of declined over the past couple years there. Gets a cut and a miss there from Applewick. But transfers over, comes back home to Toledo, becomes the Friday starter. It's been a solid start, I think, to the year for Johnson. Like you said, strikeout numbers maybe don't blow you away like they do with Connor Oliver on the other side, but he's been a really, really solid guy on the mound.
The 2-1 from Johnson misses upstairs. It's 3-1, and Johnson's got some velocity from that fastball. Tall drink of water, coming in at 6'5". And you mentioned it, from Toledo, Ohio. He's coming back home to play for the Rockets. The 3-1. And there for a called strike, Evan Applewick runs it full. Toledo, 6-5 in non-conference play. Much better than Miami's 2-11. But when you get to the start of MAC play, it's a brand new season. The payoff pitch just off the plate, and Miami will have the first base runner of the ballgame. So now we'll see Benji Brokman. Brokman, a .318 hitter, has started in 11 of Miami's 13 games this year, but been a mainstay at the top half of the order. Fouled right at the first base dugout.
Yeah, Bronson had a great series this past weekend against Siena, went 5 for 12 in those games. 931 OPS last season. He had a great year.
He's got some pop in his bat. You see his frame, and you don't think he has it as he hits a weak ground ball out to Fry at second base. Only play is to the first baseman, Sykes, and that's the first out of the bottom half of the first inning. Score that a 4-3 put out. Good job by Applewick moving to second quickly. And because Fry had to move to his left, no chance of the double play, so they took the for sure thing and the out at first. And now stepping in is Zach McDonald. First pitch to McDonald's. Fastball misses just off the edge. 1-0 to the starting center fielder.
Yeah, Johnson's been trying to get that call on the outer edge to these right-handed batters so far and just hasn't had it yet.
McDonald put a poke over the 376 sign right underneath the scoreboard last week in Game 1 against Siena. It's 2-0. In fact, he had 3 base knocks in just this week in the local non-conference play, traveling to Wright State and Dayton. Had 2 against Wright State and 1 against Dayton. So he's seeing the ball well currently. Johnson getting the sign from his battery mate, White. Called strike. Two. Applewick awaiting at second base. McDonald in the box trying to get Miami their first run of the ball game here in the bottom half of the first. Swung on and missed on the off speed. White puts the tag on McDonald, and that's the second out. So a chance to take you through Toledo's defensive alignment. We mentioned White in the battery with Noah Johnson. Sykes is over at first base. Fry playing on the right side of the infield with Sykes at second. Dron Williams and Dante DiCello on the left side of the field. Williams at short, DiCello at third base, and out in the pasture. Konzak's in left field, Makowitz in center, and Pike out in right. So now we'll see Parker Lester, the hottest bat in this lineup to start this season.
Lester's got a big frame. You get the left-hander to face off against Johnson. 2 left-handed pitchers on the mound now for each side here on this Friday.
And 2 lefty starters, and Parker Lester sends one into shallow center field, rounding third and heading for home, Evan Applewick. And off the bat of a Parker Lester flare, Miami takes the lead 1-0.
Yeah, that ball looked like it came pretty hard off the bat. Might have got kicked down a little bit, thought it had a chance to maybe get in the gap, but it ended up just dying in shallow center, but that's all you need with that runner on second, yet as Lester continues to swing that hot bat, like you mentioned, another RBI to his name. Strong start to the season for the sophomore out of Georgia.
Evan Applewick plates his 13th run of the season, and Lester's up and moving on the first pitch. A laid down bunt from the starting shortstop, Cooper Weiss. Said it hit him in the box, wasn't outside of the box, so it wasn't an out. One of the things, you see Lester's frame, you see Lester's bat, and he's got some pop in his bat, but really what surprises a lot of people is he's very quick on the base pass. 5 for 7, already 5 stolen bases, good for second in the team in the early season, so that is something he's very actively looking to try. As Johnson misses White behind the plate, and Lester doesn't even have to steal second base as they'll give it to him.
Yeah, I think Lester would have had that base had that bunt not been laid down by Weiss. He got a really good jump on that first pitch, but Weiss had the bunt sign, and when it went foul, he had to go back. So Lester gets it anyway, no harm, no foul. Move him over to second.
You're used to shifts against lefty batters, but this is a full-blown shift to a right-handed swinger, Cooper Weiss, as Fry, the second baseman, moves over to the left side of second base. So 3 infielders on the left side of second base, and a 2-1 count to the starting shortstop in Weiss. 2-1, 2 away, runner on second base. Weiss on the check swing. They're trying to run it in with the defensive shift.
And those pitches in on these righty batters, I think, have been good for Johnson thus far. That's how he got that strikeout earlier on.
Weiss with a home run in Game 3 against Siena last week. He chops one over to Dante DiCello, bobbles it in the glove. Strong throw over to Sykes for the third and final out, but Miami takes the scoreboard first. It's 1-0 here at McKee Field. One nothing our score. It's the top half of the second inning. You're watching Love and Honor Live here on Chatterbox Sports. Connor Oliver struck out 2 in the first, trying to keep that mojo working. It's a cold day here in Oxford, Ohio. 38 degrees. We have 16-mile-per-hour winds running to the east. We're underway. Reed Malmstrom along here with Luke West Poley. And Miami got on the board first, and that's something that they haven't been familiar to early in this year.
Yeah, they've had a lot of trouble as they've dug themselves in holes. You look at a lot of those games in the Georgia Tech series and the North Alabama series. You dig yourself a hole early on. You make a furious comeback late. That happened a couple of times at Georgia Tech, once against North Alabama. And they were down so much at the end of those games that they just couldn't surmount these deficits that were, 7, 8, 9 runs. So good to see for the RedHawks side of things that they got going early.
So we'll see Mason Sykes, Brian Fry, and then Dante DiCello due up for Toledo. First baseman, second baseman, and third baseman, 4, 5, 6 in this Rockets order. 1-1 the count. Oliver gets the sign from Novak, kicks, deals in there for a called strike. And Miami with the white uniforms and the red pinstripes, and I mentioned this last week on our broadcast. I can't imagine too many teams have a better uniform combination than the RedHawks, as this is fouled deep down the right field line, but out of play. 1-2's the count.
Yeah, I love the unique setup that the baseball program has, the script M, all that. It's a nice look.
It's pretty, and something about that Miami red that is just so appealing to the eye. Toledo wearing navy with gold trim there in their gray pants. A 2-2 offering to Sykes, misses down and in, runs it full.
Sykes got a big bat, broke the home run record in single season last year for the Rockets at 16.
And he hits one for a ride out to deep center field. Zach McDonald is retreating, jumps up the wall, but he does not come down with it. Toledo ties it up 1-1, and that's good timing, Luke. I mean, you said it right there. Single season record, and that is home run number 3 for Mason Sykes. It's 1-1.
Yeah, center field home run. On a day like this, humidity's high. That ball was pieced off the bat.
The wind has changed. We saw in the warm-ups, the wind was actually blowing in and killing a lot of these would-be home runs. This is a big park. 340s down the line, 400 to dead center. And Mason Sykes could have had that 415, 420, as that was a big league home run. So now we'll see Brian Fry, lefty swinger, as he is ahead 2-0. Fry is a 306 hitter, his 9th start on the season. In the dirt, Oliver looking to find the strike zone after giving up the home run. Gets the sign from Novak, right back to work. Kicks, deals, the 3-0 taken all the way for a called strike. And you see pitchers do this quite a bit. They give up a home run, and they're still on that last at-bat before focusing in on the task at hand, and that's Brian Fry. Although Connor Oliver's breaking ball gets a swing and a miss, it runs it to full. So the payoff pitch. Another swing and a miss, as it's going to get to the third base dugout. It's a strikeout, but they do not get the first out of the inning on the pass ball.
Yeah, we saw the high velocity really working well for Connor Oliver early on. He went to the off speed a little more in that at-bat. It was solid. That time it's just a pitch that takes an odd kick behind the plate off David Novak. It's a tough one if you're a pitcher. You give up a home run, you're able to bounce back, especially after you're down 3-0, but can't get the out.
And now stepping into the batter's box is the third baseman, Dante DiCello, a graduate and a native of Oxford, Ohio. Went to school right up the road in Hamilton at Baden High School. The 1-0 is taken down and in. You mentioned he grew up right down the road from you, Luke, right?
Yep. Comes from a great baseball family. Brother plays at Charleston Southern. He's got another brother, Baden, right now that's committed to Marietta. Really good D3 program.
The 2-0. In there for a called strike. DiCello played at Indiana Southeastern. Good JUCO program. Went to the JUCO World Series a couple seasons ago. The 2-1. This is down and in. Run it to 3 balls and 1 strike. Oliver kicks, deals, breaking ball taken. Put runners on first and second, and Oliver looking to get out of a jam.
Oliver's been good when he's been able to kind of attack these hitters and get ahead early on in at-bats. Just looks like he's not quite as self-confident when he's falling behind as he has on these past couple of at-bats. He rebounded well, as we saw against Brian Fry, but DiCello with a good take there inside for ball 4.
Stepping into the batter's box, Caden Konzak showing the bunt. He comes in as a 289 hitter, and that's going to be a balk. Moving runners to second and third, so they don't even need to sacrifice themselves, as Oliver does it for him, and now we're going to get a talk from the pitching coach. And this has been the problem for Miami, and you talk to any pitching coach across America. What's the most important pitch? It's not the fastball, it's the curveball. It's strike 1. And what's the most important batter? That is the first out you get in an inning, and that's where Miami has found themselves in a lot of trouble. They've been unable to get that first guy out, and you see a leadoff home run, and then the next 2 guys get on, and all of a sudden you're having to tiptoe out of trouble.
Yeah, and it's been frustrating for this team because it really feels like it's come in big innings. You look at the results and you look at how many runs this team has given up at some times, and it would lead you to believe that maybe this team has just gotten run over game in and game out, and it really hasn't been the case. You just look at maybe 1-2 innings per game where the RedHawks have just had a lot of damage done to them, and that's kind of been the story for Miami this season.
So Caden Konzak. It's 1-0 as the balk is not registered. So it's 1-0 to the lefty. 289 hitter. He's got 9 RBIs. Most importantly, he's got 3 home runs. The 1-0 is in there for a called strike. It's all knotted up at 1-1.
Yeah, he's got some pop in the bat for a smaller guy there in the box. Hit a home run on opening day against East Tennessee State. Won a GLSCL title with the Hamilton Joes this past year, I should add. So
you and I, part of that lineage of
yes,
broadcasters that have worked for the Joes. Chopped out to the second baseman. Dylan Baker making a throw on the run. It gets by Parker Lester. One run is in on the ground ball. Dante DiCello scores on the air. So Dylan Baker, because of the lefty batter, was playing deep, basically in shallow right field. He had to come in and make the run on the slow roller. Didn't set his feet, and that's going to be an error.
Yeah, it was a really tough play anyway, like you said, because of how far he had to run in. And just kind of skipped one over there to Lester.
So an error on Dylan Baker. And now coming up is the catcher, Braden White. So after a dominant top of the first inning, in which Connor Oliver struck out 2 batters, here in the top half of the second, it's gone home run, strikeout, which led to a base runner, a walk, and then an error as Braden White pours it on with a single to center field.
At that first out read, talked about it.
Got to get the first guy, and now you need a strikeout, you need a ground ball to turn to, you need something to help you out. Scott Makowitz, being the 9-hole hitter, you've already seen Toledo show the sacrifice bunt. Is Makowitz going to turn around and square up here? He does square, bunts it right to the pitcher, Oliver. He spins around, throws a dart over to Baker at first base for the first out. So a 1-3 put out. Honestly, a nice play for Connor Oliver. Makowitz had some speed chugging down the first base line, spun around and threw a dart right back to the top of the order in Jerron Williams. Chop to the third baseman, Applewick. He leaps up, throws it over to Lester, not in time. We're 4-1, as Toledo has already put up a big number here in the top half of the second, and they're still threatening.
Yeah, that's, again, another tough play over there at third. You look the runner back, but just took an extra half second that allowed Williams to get over there to first, beat that out pretty handedly.
So Garrett Pike, who struck out looking his first time, is swinging at the first pitch he sees. 0-1's the count. The 0-1 to Pike. Day late and $1 short. Runners on first and second. Oliver already coming set. They're going to make him step off the back of the rubber as Pike wasn't ready to hit. It's a big at-bat. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Garrett Pike goes down for the second time today.
It really does feel like the stuff is still there for Connor Oliver. Hasn't necessarily looked ultra rattled as you might, given what's transpired in this inning. That's a big strikeout. He really needed that.
And now we're going to see Owen Jackson, the 9th batter of this inning, looking to keep it rolling. He's the 3-hole for Toledo today. Lefty on lefty matchup. Jackson flew out to center field his first time around. He's up and swinging on the 1-0. Comes up empty.
Reed, are you a 9 batters in an inning or 10 batters in an inning guy is considered batting around?
The
I know there's debate about that.
The leadoff guy has to come up to the plate again.
Okay.
In my opinion. So 2-1. But thank you for asking. Are you? What are you?
See, I've always been a nine hitters guy. Everybody gets to hit. But I just know there's hot debate about that.
2-1. Let me put it this way. If I'm calling a game, I will not say they batted around until the guy who led off comes back up to the plate.
That's fair.
But if I'm looking in retrospect, I might say they batted around 9 batters in the second as Connor Oliver dances out of trouble, but not before giving up 4 runs in the top half of the second. We head to the bottom half here on Love and Honor Live.
Yeah.
Bottom half of the second here at McKee Field at Hayden Park. Gloomy early March day. Miami struck first in the bottom half of the first before giving up 4 runs in the top half of this inning. Chance to answer back. 2 up for the RedHawks. David Novak, Tommy Harrison, then Steven Krause. So back-to-back catchers before getting to the captain, Steven Krause. So the live stats here at McKee Field. Tagged 3 earned runs in the top half of the second. Attributed that to Connor Oliver. Of course, the home run, but there was some debate about the other 3. 1 got on base via strikeout, pass ball. First pitch swinging is David Novak. He had a good year last year.
He did. Yeah, Novak, he was solid a season ago. First team All-Max selection.
Been struggling here in the early going of the season. 154 hitter, only 4 hits and 26 at-bats. This is his 9th start on the season. But yeah, a year ago was batting in the upper 3s as he takes the 0-2, which is low and away, running it to 1-2.
Yeah, hit 370. Had a 1.134 OPS last year. 7 bombs, 24 batted in.
Anytime you can get great offensive production out of your catcher, you like the way it appears for the season. And Novak gets one through the infield, right between the second baseman and shortstop. And the leadoff man is on base for the RedHawks. So Tommy Harrison steps in, true freshman here for Miami. His 8th start. Splitting time behind the dish with Novak. Native of northeastern Ohio, St. Ed's grad. Talking with Coach Hayden before the home series last week against Siena. I mentioned who are some guys in the lineup that might have had a slow start, but do you expect great things out of? And Tommy Harrison was one of the first names mentioned. He said that he's a true freshman, a lot of potential there. Just got to get his feet underneath him in college ball. The 1-1 from Johnson. Slider runs across the zone, but finds it for the 1-2.
Yeah, he's one of a few left-handed hitters in this Miami lineup that I think will be good for the foreseeable future. You got guys like him and Parker Lester that are underclassmen. Should have good time to develop these left-handed bats.
Giving this lefty the whole left side of the infield on the shift. This 1-2 misses inside. It's 2-2. He's got a great frame, 6'2", 200 pounds, and he's a true freshman. You're going to see him put on even more muscle, even more weight as he develops here at Miami. Johnson comes set, deals. That is a sharp slider that backdoors for the strikeout. Very late break on that slider. And now we'll see Steven Kraus. Kraus, just his 5th start on the season. 200 batter. 4 hits and 20 at-bats. 2 of those 4 hits, extra base hits. Kraus, a captain on this squad. Swinging at the first pitch he sees. And I talked to Hayden about him earning that status as a captain. And Luke, he said it's because of how consistent he is. Every day he's at the ballpark, you know what you're going to get out of him. He's going to put in the work, and he's going to be an example for the underclassmen.
Yeah, he's had a good career with the RedHawks, inching up close to a 300 average last year. Played almost 50 games, 50-year senior.
The 0-2 to Kraus. Johnson checks on the runner over at first. It is by the first baseman, Sykes. And Novak thought about rounding second. He'll stay put right there.
Yeah, Sykes didn't have a whole ton of urgency getting to that ball, but just kind of took the right deflection for him to get to his glove, so that didn't allow Novak to get over to third. He definitely thought about it, though, like you mentioned.
So here comes the 0-2. Novak on second. Kraus in a hole. And there's that slider again, and that's just such a tough pitch. 1-2. Johnson. Kraus finds the barrel, but foul ball, so we'll run it again at 1-2. Johnson sitting around 89, 90. And that sharp slider that you've seen freeze a couple Miami hitters. Right in, right about 80 miles an hour. It's a big chance for Miami to answer back.
Yeah, definitely. Love to scratch at least this one across that you got in scoring position right now.
The 1-2 offering. They're giving Kraus the whole right side of the infield. He waves at the off speed, coming up empty for the second out.
There's such a big variability there, you mentioned, in the speed between that slider and fastball for Johnson. We saw right before he struck out Kraus hop all over one, but he pulled it foul. That time just couldn't find it, ducked right underneath him.
So Dylan Baker, redshirt sophomore, steps into the batter's box, getting the start today. Got a hit against Dayton earlier this week, 1-3 against the Flyers. He's batting 172 on the young season, and this is his 9th start.
He's a good addition, I think, for Danny Hayden and this staff. They brought him in as a JUCO transfer. Came out from California, College of the Desert. Top 25 in California JUCO play and RBIs, doubles, runs, and hits. Just a really solid all-around guy to bring in offensively.
Yeah, just trying to get his feet underneath him here in Miami. A native of Tampa, Florida. So here's the 3-0 to Baker. Nice job at turning over the lineup. So put runners on first and second for the third baseman, Evan Applewick. Applewick, his first time around, walked, came around and scored on the base knock from Parker Lester. Offered at the first pitch, held it up. So says the first base umpire, Stephen Linton. The 1-0 from Johnson as he comes set. Runners on first and second. Novak on second. Baker on first. And they're going to go out and talk to Noah Johnson as that is 6 straight balls.
Yeah, can't give the RedHawks any sort of life here. You're starting to put guys on the base paths right after you developed a lead.
What's interesting is he was commanding the strike zone so effortlessly. And just as he gets that second out after striking out both Tommy Harrison and Steven Krause, 6 consecutive balls. On the air through, I mentioned 14 and 2/3 innings pitch. He's walked 9 batters, so nothing, not alarming numbers, but still probably too many walks. I'd like to see that tightened up. Johnson on the 2-0. Gets a swing from Evan Applewick. He comes up empty.
And it's been an interesting couple of years for Johnson, just in his lack of playing time he's had at Virginia Tech. He played for the past 2 years with Martha's Vineyard in the NECBL, won an NECBL championship over the summer, but summer ball was where he was getting most of his reps. He only pitched 1 1/3 innings last year for the Hokies at Virginia Tech before he hit the portal.
The 2-1. Applewick sees a fastball at the top of the zone, doesn't offer at it, and it's a called strike. Two away, 2 on here in the second inning. As this is going to be called ball 3. So with the full count, the runners will be up and moving. Novak on second. Baker on first. Johnson gets the sign from White, comes set. Here's the payoff pitch. The lefty offers, it misses low and in. And now we'll see Benji Brokman with the bases juiced. Benji's got some pop in his bat. 318 hitter. Had an extra base hit against Siena, put one off the middle of the center field wall, just mere feet from a home run. He's had a base hit dating all the way back to the season opener. One and one's the count to Brokman. So with this being his 12th start on the season, he's on a 10-game hit streak. The 1-1. Hit over to Sykes at first base, a one-hop for the first baseman. He'll step on first for the third and final out. So the RedHawks threaten, but don't scratch any across. We're headed to the top of the third here in Oxford, Ohio. You're watching Love and Honor Live. To the top of the third we go. McKee Field at Hayden Park, the venue for this MAC Conference opener. The Toledo Rockets visiting here to Oxford, Ohio, have a 4-1 lead. Reed Mouse joined along here. Luke West Poli. 4-5-6-2 up for the Rockets. Mason Sykes, Brian Fry, Dante DiCello. And that is the same three who got things working in the last inning.
Yeah, Sykes got things going with that center field home run. And Toledo quickly ejected some life into this game on their side after kind of got rolled on in that first inning by Connor Oliver, and then they gave up that run in the bottom of the first. Felt like things were going the RedHawks' way, and that changed in a big way. Just one swing of the bat from Sykes.
So Sykes steps in. Home run got things all working as he put one just to the right of the foul pole out there in center field. Over 400 feet. Oliver back out there for another inning of work, and he has Sykes in a hole. It's 0-2.
And he's working quickly, too. You can see that he's trying to get back to some of that efficiency we saw in the first.
The 0-2 misses upstairs. 1-2. Oliver, as Sykes sends one right up the chute, and he's seeing the ball well. 2 hits, both to center field, one a big fly, one a rip right up the middle.
Yeah, that's another one that's barreled. That's hit really hard off the bat from Sykes. And another good piece of two-strike hitting from him. Middle of this order has been producing so far for Toledo.
You got to wonder if Sykes and Oliver know each other. Both went to Wabash College, Wabash Valley.
Yep.
Sykes, a native of Chicago. But now we'll see Brian Fry. He actually struck out his first time around. But he came around and scored as the strikeout was a pass ball. Called strike, and Brian Fry finds himself in an 0-2 hole. And with 2 strikes, Evan Applewick will move over to the right side of the field on the shift. Breaking ball away, misses. So Applewick with his heels in the outfield, and Dylan Baker moving in that 4 hole as Connor Oliver gets Fry to wave at the 1-2 for a strikeout. 5th strikeout of the game for Connor Oliver. And we mentioned it at the top of the broadcast. He has that K-pitch working. It's the other parts of his game that he's got to sort out.
Yeah, it's been kind of one or two things for each of these RedHawk pitchers so far this year. Like you said, not an issue with strikeouts for Oliver.
Dante DiCello steps in. He walked. Takes the first pitch he sees for a called ball. Yeah, Oliver, this is his 4th start on the season. 8 strikeouts against Georgia Tech in the season opener. North Alabama, he put away 11. And against Siena last week, he put away 10. Already 5 through the first 7 outs he's faced today. He's also been unable to get to that 7th inning. Worked 5 1/3 and 5 2/3 in his last 2 outings. Gets DiCello to come up empty on the 1-1.
And longevity has been something to kind of look at for Oliver. Also, you look at his days back at TCU, he wasn't necessarily a huge length pitcher to go deep in games.
Tries on the inside, the 1-2. Doesn't get the strike call, doesn't get DiCello to offer. So we'll run it to 2-2. Sykes takes a modest lead over at first base. Oliver delivers. DiCello sends one towards Miami's dugout. We'll run it again. The 2-2 from Oliver. Checks on the runner. We'll do it again. Sykes is 1 for 1 on stolen bases attempts this season. The 2-2, a heater. DeCello offers, comes up empty. Chasing on the high heat.
It'll be good for my
So Caden Konzak. He hit a slow roller out to Dylan Baker, who came in on the run to try and make a play. Threw it by Parker Lester. So he reached on the air, came around and scored for the 4th and final run last inning. He's ahead 1-0 on Oliver here. Oliver steps off the back of the rubber. A gray sky here in Oxford. This is weather that we're used to seeing in early March in Ohio. This is Ohio baseball in the spring. Konzak pops one up down the left field line. Applewick giving chase, trying to find the fence. He'll find the ball before he gets there for the 3rd and final out. We head to the bottom half of the 3rd. Miami trailing 4-1. Noah Johnson back out for the Rockets. Our score 4-1, 3-4-5, 2 up for Miami here in the bottom half of the 3rd on this gloomy day in early March. So Miami got a run in the bottom half of the 1st, threatened in the 2nd. What can they do here in the 3rd frame? They've got the middle part of their order up. See what they can muster. Zach McDonald went down swinging his first time around. McDonald with a great start to the year. Offers at the first pitch from Johnson. 0-1's the count. The 0-1 misses outside. The 1-1. Johnson tries the outside half. Doesn't get it. And he seems to be working away from Zach McDonald here with nobody on, which is interesting because their infield is working the left side of the field. So I get trying to stay away from a hitter's tendency of hitting the ball hard, but if you're going to align your defense to the left side of the field, you think you'd want to pitch into that. The 2-2 misses. And we're full.
What's your pattern? I finished with 2. No, your pattern? On base. No, it's not complicated. Mine's like really not complicated.
Johnson takes a sigh. Here's the payoff pitch. Ball 4. And for the 3rd time this ball game, Miami gets their leadoff batter on.
It's been some good eyes. Parker Lester came up with a hit his first time up to get that lone RBI for the RedHawks in this game. I think now in back-to-back innings, after you got that hit from Novak, now you get the walk from McDonald. You really liked the position you were in if you were the RedHawks trying to claw your way back into the game. Couldn't get the job done in the second.
So now Parker Lester, he singled in a run his first time. Fastball on the inside. Lester had to turn into that. 1-1's the count.
Lester also a GLSCL champ this past summer with the Hamilton Joes. Really struggled to start the year, was hitless through almost 30 at-bats, and then really turned it on in the second half. Really worked in the fall. Told the coaching staff he was going to hit a center field home run. Hit a center field home run at Prasco Park during fall ball. He's got a lot of power.
The 1-2 upstairs. So 2-2 here to Lester. Johnson kicks, deals, misses on the inside. Lester dances out of the way. Now that's one thing as a former ball player I was just never able to do, is just turn into a pitch. Couldn't do it. I was too soft for that. Here comes the 3-2. And Lester walks. Slider couldn't come back into the zone. Back-to-back walks. Bring Cooper Weiss to the plate with 2 runners on, and Miami have something cooking.
Lester pumped up. RedHawks in business.
So Weiss grounded out to DiCello over at third base his first time. Looking to bring a run or 2 in, or at the very least keep this rally going. First pitch he sees, fouls it down the third base line. Hit it well. It's all for naught as he finds himself in an 0-1 hole.
You called it intermission, so I thought it was called intermission.
Johnson gets the sign from White, checks on the runners. Here's the 0-1 offering to Cooper Weiss. He shows bunt, bunts it right back to Johnson, the pitcher. Waiting for the second baseman to get to first. He doesn't get there in time. Johnson holds on to it. So miscommunication in the field for the Rockets have loaded the bases for David Novak.
Yeah, just a puzzling look there from Toledo in the field. You've got Sykes, he's charging in on that, ends up kind of crouched by the pitcher's mound, and then Fry, I don't know if he knew that he was supposed to be covering that bag until a couple seconds too late. That's going to bring a mound visit. Now we've got some action as well going on, some light stretching and throwing that's begun in the Toledo bullpen.
That's where the miscommunication just happened with Toledo, with the first baseman coming in to try for the bunt coverage. Brian Fry out at second has to understand that he's got to cover first. Now the problem is Cooper Weiss, as a right-handed hitter, typically the second baseman is in charge of covering the bag. So I don't know if that was something Miami saw or just trying to create some offense for David Novak.
Yeah, and that bunt also just went straight up the middle. I don't
You're right.
know if that was the intended spot or not, but regardless, it was Johnson who ended up having to play that.
So Johnson will go back to the windup with the bases loaded. Nobody away here in the bottom half of the third. Novak, who singled up the middle his first time, looking to get another base knock. Johnson off speed, misses outside, and Novak is ahead in the count. Novak, 3 RBIs on the young season. Dribbles one out to the shortstop. Flipped over to second, Fry. He'll throw it over to first. Sykes. It's a 6-4-3 double play. Miami does play home a run, but that stifles a would-be rally. Miami's still at the plate. Toledo traded 2 outs for a run. So now Tommy Harrison, he struck out looking his first time. A runner 90 feet away in the form of Parker Lester. And Harrison looking to make some waves. And his first ever collegiate conference start. The 0-1. Check swing. Johnson did go for it. As called by the home plate ump. Lefty on lefty matchup. Already has put Harrison down once. Looking for the 2. In the dirt, Harrison taking all the way. Harrison comes up empty on the breaking ball. Miami plates 1 run, and Toledo gets out of trouble with the double play, then the strikeout. 4-2 our score. We head to the top half of the 4th here on Love and Honor Live. Top of the 4th here at McKee Field at Hayden Park. Toledo a 4-2 lead over the home RedHawks. And for the next 3 innings, Luke West-Poley will have the mic. Luke, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Reed. 4-2 Rockets lead here on the road over Miami after 3 innings of play. Bring up the 8-9 one-hitters for Toledo. Connor Oliver back on the mound for Miami. 2 clean innings, a 4 spot in the second for the Rockets. Lefty on righty matchup here for the catcher, Braden White. First pitch stinging on the inside corner for strike 1. White singled in that second inning as a part of a long train for Toledo. Squaring a bunt, pulls back, ball and a strike. Braden White catching behind the plate for Toledo. Sees the 1-1, and he smacks it into the parking lot. Barreled it up well foul, and it moves it to 1-2. And White takes this one into the gap on the 1-2. Back going McDonald and Kraus for Miami. This one's off the wall. Played in center field by McDonald. He'll fire it back in, but Braden Wright has himself a 2-hit day. It's a 2-strike double.
Yeah, second time this ball game that Oliver, who has been getting strikeouts, but the second time that he's left one over the plate with 2 strikes. Braden White sending that all the way to the warning track out there in the deepest part of the park, left center field, just a few feet shy of a big fly. And Toledo once again threatening Miami, not letting them take a deep breath at all in this game.
Leadoff man aboard for the Rockets, and now 3 of the last 4 innings. First pitch bunt squared by Makowitz. It's put down. Tough play for Oliver. He fires, and it pulls Lester off the bag. Makowitz at a sacrifice bunt his first time up. This time, he'll get to sit on first base. It's a bunt single for the 9-hole hitter for the Rockets, and it moves Braden White over to third. They're on the corners with nobody out for the top of the order.
Yeah, that was an easy decision for Toledo there to sacrifice Makowitz. He's batting 171. He struck out in half of his at-bats this season. Laid down a nice bunt, almost got it the last time. Tough play for Oliver, but Makowitz taking first. Just so much speed from the center fielder.
So Jerron Williams, shortstop atop the order, was a 360 hitter coming in. 1 for 2 on the day, singled in the second before back-to-back strikeouts from Connor Oliver to get out of that inning. And he reaches for this one, pokes it down the left field line. That one twisting foul, and it'll drop to move the count to 0-2. So with runners on the corners, Connor Oliver trying to get that first out. We mentioned that was the struggle in that second inning. Gave up a leadoff hit to Mason Sykes in the third before back-to-back strikeouts. And he will put down Jerron Williams here to get that first out. Back to the top of the order, no problem for the Miami pitcher, Connor Oliver.
Yeah, it's a big strikeout for Oliver. Still not out of the woods yet. Needs a ground ball, needs another K here. But Miami just so many talented arms that can put you away.
One out here. First pitch finds that outside corner on the bottom for Pike, who's riding 2 strikeouts right now on each of his first 2 at-bats. 1 looking, 1 swinging. 2 out of the 8 total strikeouts in the game for Connor Oliver. On the corners with 1 aboard, or 1 out, I should say. Lifted up in front of the mound. Oliver calling for it. Now Lester calls him off in foul territory, and he will make the catch. High fly there from Pike, and he goes down for the 3rd time.
That's a great job by Parker Lester and calling off both Connor Oliver and the catcher David Novak. That's their ball. Listen, the pitcher and the catcher don't want to catch the ball. They are the last option to catch the ball. And when that ball goes up, no one is screaming, all right, someone get in my ear, someone get in my ear, tell me that you have this ball. Great job by Lester coming in and making the play.
Grounder up the middle, a bit of a stumble, but able to get there. Cooper Weiss gets out of the inning, and runners on the corners with nobody out for Connor Oliver turns into 3 straight retired as Williams, Pike, and Jackson all go down. RedHawks hang a 0 for the 2nd straight inning. To the bottom of the 4th we go. Miami in a 2-run hole here on Love and Honor Live. Bottom of the 4th here from McKee Field, 4-2 Toledo leaders over Miami. As the RedHawks scratched 1 across in the 3rd to cut into this lead. They got a 0 in the top of the 4th for the 2nd straight inning. And we'll now see 8-9-1 coming to the plate. Steven Krause looking to get things started. Struck out swinging in the 2nd in his lone plate appearance so far.
Yeah, Miami needs to scratch them across. They left 3 aboard in the 2nd inning. They got the bases loaded with nobody away there in the 3rd inning, but only 2 runs to show for it to this point in the ballgame.
Noah Johnson back out there working for the Rockets with a first pitch strike on Steven Krause. 50-year senior for the RedHawks. Johnson working from the windup. And the 0-1 can't get framed on that outside corner. White did his best. It'll even the count at a ball and a strike. Johnson had to work from the stretch for a good bit of that last inning, but bases loaded for the RedHawks. They only got 1 run. I think Johnson will certainly take that. Went back to that windup and pitched pretty well, all things considered. This ball is hit well to the opposite field, but it ends up getting pushed into the grass on the right side of foul territory. Ball and 2 strikes now to Steven Krause. RedHawks with 2 runs off 3 hits so far. They've come from the 4, 5, 6 hitters. Krause gets a piece to stay alive.
Krause looks very antsy. Just in the week against Siena, the weekend series last week, and in his first 2 at-bats here today, just looks very eager to try and generate something at the plate.
Another 1-2. Outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Toledo shifted again on a right-handed hitter here in Steven Krause. They got 3 on the left side of the infield. Sykes staying over to cover first. 2-2, hit on the ground, left side, diving effort from a couple of Rockets. Williams knocks it down, but not before it reaches shallow left field. And that's a base hit for the RedHawks. Steven Krause will lead things off, and the leadoff man for Miami aboard in all 4 innings now up to this point.
Yeah, nice job by Krause, just putting it right in that 6-hole. I'm a little surprised that Noah Johnson went back to the heater after working away. You know, that slider is such an extra pitch. It's a plus pitch that he has in his arsenal that if he can backdoor it, I don't know how you could put it in play.
Baker tried to square that bunt, goes behind home plate. So he falls behind 0-1. Baker walked in the 2nd inning. Made it as far as second base, where that inning eventually came to a close. RedHawks had the bases loaded in that inning. 0-1 to him. High bouncer to short. Williams has to wait on it. Throws to second, on to first. That one beat out on the back end. Fielder's choice. Steven Krause is retired to get the first out of the inning, and Dylan Baker reaches via the fielder's choice.
Yeah, it would have been a heck of a turn there from the left side of the infield. Nice job by Baker, beating it out. That high bounce really helped them avoid that double play. Would have been their 2nd double play in consecutive innings. But most importantly, you got a runner on and you turn over the lineup. That's what the bottom half of the order's job is.
Evan Applewick at the top of the order takes a first pitch strike. He's walked twice, scored 1 of Miami's 2 runs. He's a guy who walks a lot. Led the Appalachian League in walks this past summer. Still looking for at-bat number 1 as the 0-1 misses that outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. Was watching the North Alabama game, and they were talking about he's from Madison, South Dakota, where Madison, South Dakota is. And I did a little bit of research on it. It's a city of 6,000, but the most interesting thing about it is it paints the outside corner might be the climate. It gets down to -33 and up to 105 degrees in the summer.
So
that sounds like an absolutely miserable place, but he is definitely used to playing in conditions like this.
This is summer for him. This is a beach
Exactly.
vacation for Applewick. How do you even play ball in that weather?
The Arctic tundra of South Dakota. 1 ball, 2 strikes here with 1 down. Got a runner on first, and Dylan Baker for the top of the order for Miami. 1-2 pitch. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. Evan Applewick goes down for the first time on the swinging strikeout. Strikeout number 5 for Noah Johnson. And now there's 2 gone. Benji Brokman to the plate. He's 0 for 2.
Benji Brokman. He's grounded out to the right side of the infield his first 2 times around. See if he can poke one through and get Zach McDonald to the plate with 2 runners on.
Pitch falls to the bottom part of the zone for strike 1 there for Noah Johnson. Next pitch on the way, up in on the hands for ball 1. Brokman trying to extend that hitting streak that Reed mentioned a couple of innings ago that has lasted all the way since an 0-for-3 start in the season opener against Georgia Tech. He's had a hit in every game since. 1-1. In on the hands again, catches the inside part of the zone. Called strike 2. One ball, 2 strikes to Brennaman as the RedHawks trail by 2. Johnson sets. Here's the pitch, and ever so slightly a piece taken out of it by Brennaman. He stays alive here at 1-2. I don't know if we anticipated the lights turning on here in the 3rd, 4th inning of a 3 o'clock game, but they are.
Just that grayness.
1-2 breaking ball, cut on and missed by Brennaman. The off speed for Noah Johnson, and he finishes out a strong 4th inning with back-to-back strikeouts to hang a 0 as each team trading in a pitcher battle in inning number 4 as Toledo retains a 4-2 lead. To the 5th inning we go with the Rockets on top by 2. To the 5th here at McKee Field, Connor Oliver returns to the mound for Miami in a 4-2 game. Toledo leading Miami. As Oliver has given up all 4 of those runs in 1 inning. It was the 2nd. Outside of that, it's been somewhat strong for Connor. Gave up 2 hits in that last inning, but did a great job to get out of the inning, retiring 3 in a row after a double by Braden White, and a single by Scott Makowitz at the bottom of the order. Mason Sykes, cleanup hitter, leads off for Toledo. He's 2 for 2, watching a first pitch on the inside corner called strike 1. Sykes got things started for Toledo, tied the game with a home run in the 2nd. And he waits on the curveball and hits it into left field for another base hit. Sykes 3 for 3 on the day. And again, the Rockets leadoff man aboard.
Sykes having the day when you're calling pitches, whether you're the coach, whether you're David Novak behind the plate, you just got to go back to the drawing board on how you're attacking them, whether it be with the hard stuff early or with the breaking ball stuff early, pitching him backwards, pitching him forwards, doesn't matter. You got to figure something else out to keep him off the base paths.
Lefty on lefty for Fry. He pops the bunt up into foul territory, racing over Novak for the RedHawks, and he will make the snag for out number 1. Not how the Rockets envisioned that. But Fry will go down, and the runner has to stay at first.
Yeah, mission number 1 is make sure the ball goes on the ground. Make sure you don't pop it up. Nothing good happens when you're giving yourself up, and then you get nothing to show for it.
Dante DiCello in now for Toledo. First pitch up at head height for ball 1. Mentioned DiCello's local roots. He's 0 for 1 on the day, but has scored a run, walked in the 2nd, and came all the way around. And a breaking ball catches the top of the zone there to even the count of the ball and a strike. DiCello, the 3rd baseman, over 300 on the average this year, 326 coming into this one. Solid start for the grad transfer out of IU Southeast. He hits this one on the ground left side, and it's going to split Weiss and Applewick in the Miami infield for a base hit. Sykes moves over to 2nd, and Dante DiCello with the first base knock for him this afternoon. Puts him on first and second with one gone here for Caden Konzak.
Yeah, doing a nice job at just getting the pitch on the inside and sending it into left field. You know, when you're seeing the ball well at the plate, you're just taking what the pitcher gives you, and that's what Dante DiCello did right there.
So with one gone, a lefty-lefty matchup here for Konzak, who reached on an error and scored in the second. First pitch breaking ball up near the shoulders for ball one. Konzak leaning out. That ball that Konzak hit on the ground, it was a slow roller. Tough play for Dylan Baker. Threw it by Parker Lester, resulted in 2 Toledo runs coming in on that play, and then eventually Konzak would score himself later on. Takes a cut and a miss, and a nice breaking ball there from Oliver. 1 ball, 1 strike. Oliver's set from the stretch, getting ready to deal the 1-1. And Konzak pops it up left side. This is tracking out of play. Miami players giving chase. That's going to get over the net and bounce on the dugout. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Caden Konzak, native of Lewis Center, Ohio, in the greater Columbus area. Graduate of Olentangy Liberty. One ball, 2 strikes here to Konzak. Fired in just a tad low.
Said that on the TrackMan, hit the bottom of the zone. Just missed in the eyes of the home plate umpire.
Oliver goes breaking ball this time, and he sits down Caden Konzak. Another strikeout for the Miami hurler, Connor Oliver. That's K number 9. And now 2 gone here in inning number 5 with Braden White coming to the plate. White's had a good day so far. Single and a double each of his first 2 at-bats.
Yeah, it's kind of how it is.
First pitch fired in, cut on, and missed outside there from White.
Yeah, White seeing the ball well, too. Remember, he just barely missed the big fly his last time up. These righties are having a much better time against the southpaw Connor Oliver midway through this game.
0-1 runs in on him. 1 ball and 1 strike to the catcher.
And a big part of that is because Connor Oliver has such a great hook, such a great curveball, and when it feeds away from a left-handed batter, it's so tough to hit, but it comes into the righty, so you can see it just better, and it gets right on the hands and the barrel.
Twisted over to short. Easy play made by Weiss to Baker, as they'll go with the fielder's choice, and that will retire the side here in the top of the 5th. Connor Oliver off and moving. 3 straight scoreless innings for the RedHawk pitcher as we head to the bottom of inning number 5 with the RedHawks trailing by 2. You're watching Miami Baseball on Love and Honor Live. Four-two to the bottom of inning number 5 we go here at McKee Field at Hayden Park with West Foley Reed Mouse alongside. The RedHawks have seen 4 runs come across in the second inning for Toledo, bookended by 1 run of their own in the first and third. We have played the last 1.5 scoreless here from McKee. Been no shortage of runners on the base paths, though, Reed, for these RedHawks. They've had at least a hit in every single inning so far. It's just been finishing the job that has been the issue for Miami, with runners already on base, what they've had production-wise at the plate.
Both pitchers, Noah Johnson and Connor Oliver, have done a good job at dancing out of trouble. You know, the one big inning for Toledo back in the second, but other than that, Connor Oliver's been very sharp. Noah Johnson's allowed a base runner seemingly every inning, but has still found a way to only give up 2 runs through the first 4 innings of this ball game.
We're going to say that one hit or maybe not. Zach McDonald is the leadoff batter for Miami at the plate. Immediately tossed the elbow pad off as if that hit him on the foot. Home plate umpire said it didn't, and now they're going to conference about it. So, third base umpire there, Ben Levin, had a brief conversation with Noah Johnson on the mound. As of right now, calling the field is just ball 1, and it's going to stand. So ball 1 to McDonald. He has to stand in once more. Did not get hit on the foot. McDonald 0 for 1 on the day, but walked and scored his last time up in the third. That was the last run for these RedHawks. 1-0 pitch. Chopper on the ground. 3 on the side of the infield. Fry fields it, throws across for Toledo, and it's in time for out number 1.
Yeah, it's a nice job by Fry. You know, when you play on turf, you get these higher bounces. It's something that's not organic to when you're playing on an actual playing surface. So when you play these higher bounces, you've got to get rid of the ball quicker, because you can't do anything. When the ball gets to you is when it gets to you. Come forward, move forward, and delivered a nice strike. McDonald has some speed, just couldn't beat out the throw from Fry.
Parker Lester to the plate now, 1 for 1 with a single that happened in the first. Takes a cut and miss on a pitch over the outside half there for strike 1. Lester made it to third in inning number 3, but could not come around to score before that inning ended. The 0-1 going to be in the dirt. Lester, native of Calhoun, Georgia, had a solid year as a freshman last season for the RedHawks. Cracked the lineup, especially in the second half of the year, mostly at third base. Swing and a miss there for strike 2. Moved him over to the right side of the infield this season, with the depth they've had at third as the pitch rides up high to make it 2-2.
Yeah, still wondering why Rylan Zaborowski, second straight game without him in the starting lineup.
2-2, up and in. And Lester works the count full here. Had great plate discipline his last time up to work that walk. Couple of 2-strike takes. Johnson readies for the payoff. Here it comes, and Lester fights it off.
Good job fighting it back. You get these long at-bats, and you start just thinking about, how can I get on base? How can I get on base? Just continue to draw the at-bat 1 pitch longer.
Payoff number 2 to Lester. Swing and a miss. Johnson blows it by, another strikeout. And there's 2 gone here in the bottom of the 5th.
A lot of chatter right now between Coach Hayden and the home plate umpire, Tim Catton.
And I think, not sure if it was Johnson or maybe White behind the plate, might have said something to Lester on the way back. He was not happy making his way back to the dugout. And the Toledo dugout, we can hear from here, very loud as well.
Starting to get a little chippy here. You like to see that. Oftentimes in, these games, you get to the midpoint of the game, 4th, 5th, 6th inning, you kind of just take your foot off the gas, right? You're not applying as much pressure, not as focused on your at-bats. You like to see something like that kind of draw in and streamline your focus.
Cooper Weiss, the batter, 1-1 count to him. Singled his last time up in the third. Was retired right afterwards on a 6-4-3 double play. 1-1, and he chops it toward the Miami dugout. Again, Toledo shifted on him with 3 on the left side of the infield. They've done that with most of the right-handed batters they've seen this afternoon. One ball, 2 strikes. The pitch, and this one's crushed out to deep left field. Back going Konzak to the wall, and he makes the catch on the warning track. Caden Konzak, as that ball might have got knocked down just a hair, looked great off the bat, but a squeeze made, and Konzak will retire the side here in the bottom of the 5th. Toledo came pouring out of their dugout, and Danny Hayden was irate at third base for Miami. I believe they may have been warned by the umpires there, but regardless, RedHawks go down in order in the bottom of the 5th as Cooper Weiss with some warning track power closes it out, and the lead remains at 2 as we head to inning number 6. Rockets on top, 4-2 here on Love and Honor Live. Sixth inning here from McKee Field. Connor Oliver back out to work for the Miami RedHawks, trailing Toledo by a 4-2 score. RedHawks retired in order for the first time all game in that bottom of the 5th. Reed, you and I talked, we really thought that ball off the bat of Cooper Weiss might have been gone, but just kind of got knocked down by the wind, ends up on the warning track, and the RedHawks empty now in the last 2 innings as they still trail by a pair.
Yeah, the wind blowing from the left field foul pole to the right field foul pole, and I think everyone thought that ball was gone right off the bat. Cooper Weiss didn't even jog out of the box, thought he had a big fly, and it was before the warning track. Just dead in the ball.
Scott Makowitz, the batter for the Rockets, he's bunted both times he's been up. This time swinging at all 3, puts one on the ground to second base, and Baker will make the short flip to Lester at first for out number 1. So Makowitz gets permission finally to swing that bat in the 9-hole. Took a couple cuts and misses before he put one on the ground at second. Flip the lineup card to the top of the order. Jerron Williams to the plate. He's 1 for 3, 2 strikeouts. First pitch on the inside corner for strike 1.
What was most important about that ground ball was just the fact that Miami got the first out, right? That is something almost foreign to them this season.
Second pitch, just missed him in on the hands. 1 ball, 1 strike. RedHawks gave up a leadoff base runner in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th innings of this game. Breaking ball, big swing and a miss there from Williams. That makes it a 1-2 count. Now you can hear the Miami dugout starting to get riled up a bit. 1 ball, 2 strikes as Oliver winds. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. Put him in double digits, strikeout number 10. And Oliver's got 2 gone here in the 6th.
He's been fantastic besides that second inning, right? And he continues to just keep mowing down hitters. You know, I talked with Coach Hayden before the Siena series last week, and he said that the pitching staff will lead this team to the success that they plan to have, that they think that they can have this year. It just hasn't shown fully this year.
Strike 1, and then second pitch missing outside to Garrett Pike, who's 0 for 3. RedHawks have Hudson Leach up in the bullpen right now. As this one's popped up, left side of the infield. Applewick looking up at it. Has tracked it down in the gray sky, and he puts the squeeze on it for an efficient inning number 6 from Connor Oliver. His day may or may not be done, we're not sure, but if it is, that's a good way to end it, as it's another 0 on the board, and the game remains a 4-2 Rocket lead. RedHawks try to answer in the bottom of inning number 6 when we return. Miami Baseball on Love and Honor Live, back next. Bottom of the 6th inning here from McKee Field. We've got a change on the mound for Toledo, as the day is done for Noah Johnson from number 45 to number 44. You flip the arm slot to the other side. The right-hander Brennan McCune on the mound. Big 6'4", 230 sophomore out of Dover, Ohio, will take over after Noah Johnson with a pretty solid 5 innings of work. 2 runs, 4 hits for the transfer from Virginia Tech. RedHawks really needing an answer after we've seen 6 batters retired in a row now for each of these teams. 3 for Toledo in the top of the 6th. RedHawks went down in order in the bottom of the 5th. Leadoff man David Novak. He's 1 for 2 on the day. Single and a ground ball into a double play for him.
Yeah, McCune comes in. This is his 4th appearance on the year, 11 1/3 innings pitch, 3.97 ERA. Very good fastball, as you saw right there. And it is 11 1/3 innings pitch. He struck out 11, so sitting right at that 9 for every 9 innings.
1-0 finds that outside corner to even the count. McCune, he made 14 appearances last year out of the bullpen. As a high school senior in 2021 at Dover High School, had 120 strikeouts. 1-1, dives low and away. Hitters count here for David Novak.
Yeah, in the foot.
2-1, McCune fires in, just missing off the outside corner. Make it 3-1.
Can't give up these at-bats in the middle part of the game.
Called strike 2 there to make the count full to David Novak. Noah Johnson finishes the day with 99 pitches in 5 innings. Payoff pitch to Novak, and he fights it off into the support atop the screen as the count remains full.
Yeah, Miami's become complacent in the batter's box after grinding, getting people on base earlier in the ball game, 6 in a row, as you mentioned.
3-2, tipped into the glove of White behind the plate, and it's a strong start for Brennan McCune. He gets the strikeout. And that'll bring in the DH Tommy Harrison with the bases empty for the Hawks here in the bottom of the 6th. First pitch to Harrison, in on the hands. He pushes it up into the screen. Harrison has a pair of strikeouts, 1 each way. Both his at-bats coming in the 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, if there's one guy.
It's in on the ground, right side, right to Sykes, and he will take it himself. Put it away for out number 2.
What I was going to say was, if there was one guy in this Miami lineup that was Happy to see Noah Johnson gone. That was Tommy Harrison. He looked lost through his first 2 at-bats against the lefty, but just grounded out there in his 3rd at-bat, and now Miami's looking to get a little 2-out rally going here in the 6th.
Steven Krause will look to start it. Left fielder singled his last time up to the plate, and that was as the leadoff man in the 4th, or rather, we get a pinch hitter for the RedHawks, as they are going to bring on Brian Zapp instead. So Steven Krause done for the day. So Zapp, the lefty hitter, to face off against the right-hander Brennan McCune. First pitch to him on the way, and they're going to say Zapp offered at it. Strike 1.
Better angle than I at that one, but didn't fully see it.
Zapp, the Canadian, faces the 0-1, and that's going to drop in for strike 2. He's had a pretty decent year for the RedHawks at the plate, hitting .321. The pair of bombs, watches that one fall low for ball 1. One ball and 2 strikes to Brian Zapp with the bases empty here in the bottom of the 6th. McCune blows it by him, swing and a miss. 2 strikeouts and 3 batters faced, and a clean inning to start things off for Brennan McCune. This Toledo lead has stuck at 2 for the last 3 complete innings. We go to inning number 7, starting to get into crunch time in this one. Rockets look to add to their lead when we come back on Love and Honor Live.
Hudson Leach takes the mound for the Miami RedHawks. We're here in the top half of the 7th inning. Reed Malmstrom along here with Luke West-Poley. Zeros on the board ever since the 3rd inning. Let's bring it back to how we got this way. Miami jumped on board, 1-0 in the first. Toledo tagged 4 in the second. Miami tagged 1 more in the third. So we're at 4-2, and Hudson Leach in relief for Connor Oliver. Hudson Leach, this is his 5th appearance on the season. He's worked 13 2/3 innings pitched. He's given up 7 earned runs, struck out 23 in the process. He's good for a 4.61 ERA. He'll be facing off against 3, 4, and 5 of the Toledo Rockets. And it's Owen Jackson who's working on an 0 for 3 today. And I can't tell you enough how important this first at-bat is, as Mason Sykes, who's seeing the ball like a beach ball at the plate right now, is waiting in the on-deck circle. So 1-1 for Hudson Leach. And the MO on Leach is an elite, and I mean elite, fastball, as he misses on the outside.
Yeah, transferred in from Creighton, started 4 games for the Blue Jays last season.
A 2-1 swung on and missed. Top of the zone. Jackson coming up empty. Leach. And they have a full shift. The bender falls back to the zone for a called strike 3. And Leach puts down Owen Jackson to begin the 7th frame.
That was Ephus-like on the movement. Just froze Jackson.
Yeah, after seeing heater after heater from Leach, Leach changed up the speeds and froze Jackson. Gave it right to Mason Sykes. First pitch swinging, chopped over to Evan Applewick. He'll throw it across the diamond. A stretch from Parker Lester for the second out. Makes quick work of Mason Sykes. He's set down for the first time today. And now Brian Fry steps into the batter's box. He's working on an 0 for 3. Has struck out twice. Popped up to the catcher on a sacrifice bunt attempt. But he came around and scored his first time around. That was that strikeout. That was a pass ball. And Leach is working right now. 0-1. Leach comes set. Gets the sign from Novak in the turf. But he gets Fry to offer. It's 0-2. The 0-2 fouled straight back. We'll do it again. And the infield shifts over to the right side. Cooper Weiss alone to the left of second base. Dylan Baker in shallow right field. Evan Applewick. And the infield alignment doesn't matter as Hudson Leach gets Brian Fry on the spin cycle. An electrifying half inning from the relief pitcher. We head to the bottom half of the seventh here at McKee Field. The RedHawks looking to get the sticks out. You're watching Love and Honor Live. Stretch time here at McKee Field at Hayden Park. 4-2 our score. 9-1-2 due up for the Miami RedHawks. Running out of time. 9 outs to give the Toledo Rockets in the opening of this 3-game series. McCune back out there for another inning of relief work, and Dylan Baker settles into the batter's box, showing bunt, pushes it over towards Sykes over at first base, trying to utilize the fact that the infield is set up to the left side of second base, trying to push one in between the pitcher and Sykes over at first. Baker on the 0-1 from McCune. Breaking ball. Swings at it. Comes up empty. Miami looking for their first base runner since Steven Krause had a single back in the 4th inning. The 0-2's a heater he can't catch up to. 1 up, 1 down here in the bottom half of the 7th. So Evan Applewick working on an 0 for 1, has walked twice, struck out. That was his last time around. And through the last time through the order, Miami struck out 5, marked that 6 times. Applewick trying to buck the trend. The 1-0. White setting up on the outside. McCune delivers it out there, but well outside. It's 2-0. McCune kicks, deals, fastball, and he's got a good fastball. Applewick tips it. Runs it to 2-1. McCune running it up there to 94 miles an hour. Here comes the 2-1 offering. Misses downstairs. It's got a good fastball. He loves his fastball. He's given it early and often.
You're the one who did the split. It was the best. The one friend.
The 3-1. Swung on and missed. Full. And he misses on the full count offering from McCune. And Miami gets their first base runner since the 4th inning.
Yeah, it's been a consistent call throughout the game on that outside corner to the right-handed hitters. And just can't quite tuck that one over the plate there to get that strike 3 call.
Benji Brokmund, who's got an 0 for 3, pushes a bunt over to McCune, fields it cleanly, tosses it over to Sykes. Applewick moves up to second base, but Brokmund is out. Making it 0 for 4, his hit streak is in trouble. And now we'll see Zach McDonald. McDonald represents the tying run at the plate, and he has big fly power. McCune comes set, the righty, with White lining up on the outside part of the zone. Misses outside. One-0. Offers at the 1-0. McDonald, he's 0 for 2. Struck out, grounded out. He walked, came around, and scored. That was back in the 3rd inning. That was the last Miami RedHawks run. Called strike on the outside, off speed. Just nicked that outside corner.
Yeah, it's a really good pitch there. I think McDonald knew as soon as that crossed the plate where that ball was going.
Applewick takes a modest lead out there at second base. The 1-2 is hit in the 6-hole. Tough play for the shortstop. Jerron Williams gloves it, but will have no play. Put runners on first and third. And the hottest batter in Miami's lineup, Parker Lester, coming up to the plate. Lester singled home a run all the way back in the 1st inning. He walked his next trip up, struck out, working on a 1 for 2. Tying run on first. He's representing the go-ahead run at the plate. It's the bottom half of the 7th. McCune comes set. First pitch is a heater. Misses on the inside.
This feels like the breaking point in the game, Reed. RedHawks are threatening here with 2 outs.
RedHawks looking to come up with at least something here with 2 away in the middle of the order. Parker Lester hits one well out to Jerron Williams. He gloves it on the second bounce, flips it over to Fry at second for the 3rd out. Lester stings one, but right at the starting shortstop, Jerron Williams. The RedHawks threaten, but we're head to the 8th inning, still 4-2.
Yeah.
Top of the 8th inning. Hudson Leach out for another inning of relief work. Dante DiCello due up for the Toledo Rockets, as they're looking to add on to their 2-run lead here on McKee Field at Hayden Park. It's Oxford, Ohio. It's a cold early March day, and we are ready for action here in the top half of the 8th. We've hung 4 consecutive innings of zeros. Both the Rockets and the RedHawks looking to buck the trend. Hudson Leach looked sharp in his half inning of work last. Striking out 2, getting a ground out. The 1-1 swung on and missed from Dante DiCello. DiCello had that base hit through the infield his last time up. Has reached base twice today. The 1-2 from Leach. Sharp break on that slider. Gets DiCello to come up empty. His 3rd strikeout in just 4 batters faced. We mentioned how Coach Hayden believes in his rotation, his pitching staff, to get this RedHawks team where they think they could be, which is at the top of the MAC conference, competing in the NCAA tournament. You look at the NCAA, all the teams in the NCAA, all 295 Division I baseball teams. Miami is 2nd in K per 9, trailing only Wake Forest. Caden Konzak did a nice job sending that into right field for a base knock. Now on the other end of that, they're 2nd in the nation in K per 9 at 12.8, trailing only Wake Forest. They are dead last in walks per 9 innings. So now stepping in is Braden White. Braden White working on a 2-for-3, seeing the ball well at the plate, grounded out to Cooper Weiss his last time. I think Hudson Leach will take that here with 1 away and 1 runner on. Leach comes set. Another fastball. Couldn't get on top of it. It's 1-1. Two 2-1 on the fastball that runs up and in on Braden White. White, the starting catcher for the Rockets. Sends one out to left center field, giving chase is Zap. He'll have it for the 2nd out. Had to get all the way into the gap. White coming just feet away from another extra base hit.
Yeah, Zap was on his horse and left to get to that one. That was hit in what you'd think would be a perfect spot, and especially with the wind blowing in that direction towards center field, might even carry that ball away from Zap a little more. RedHawks certainly needed that.
So Scott Makowitz up at the plate, and a bunt single back in the 4th inning. Leach checking on the runner that is Caden Konzak. Yeah, that wind probably broke down that swing from White. Not only getting it away from Zap, but it probably just blew it back in. And you can see the American flag blowing in center field. You also probably can't see on your screen, there's 2 flags on the scoreboard that are pushing directly in from the left center field wall. So on a dry day, that might be a double. 2-1 the count to the 9-hole Makowitz. Fouled straight back. 2-2. Leach has the kind of stuff that just makes you uncomfortable in the batter's box. Mid-90s fastball, tight break on the curveball. You saw it right there that missed up and away, couldn't bring it back in. Professional prospect Hudson Leach is. Runner moving on the full count with 2 outs, and Makowitz walks. Bringing the top half of the order, the shortstop, Jerron Williams, with 2 runners on and 2 away.
And the free passes were something that RedHawks largely did a good job of, as we're going to get a mound visit here. Connor Oliver only had 1 of them in his 6 innings of work. Mentioned it wasn't really a tremendously tough game for the RedHawks. I mean, they've had 7 scoreless so far, 7 2/3. It's just that 1 inning that has stuck out in the top of the 2nd. Hudson Leach, I thought, was working really efficiently too, especially getting through Dante DiCello. You get through that last inning, you strike out the first batter, but maybe a little bit of trouble for him here. Still just 1 swing of the bat, though, from getting out of the inning.
Those are the kind of walks that drive coaches nuts, right? You get to the bottom half of the order, you feel like you're cruising, you strike out 3 of the first 4 batters you face, and you get to Scott Makowitz, who hadn't been seeing the ball well this year, and you don't make him put the ball in play. You give him a free pass, and hats off to Makowitz by working the count, getting on base. But now the Rockets turn the lineup over for Jerron Williams. He's 1 for 4, has struck out 3 times as well. Called strike there over the heart of the plate, 1-1. And Toledo has some speed, so if Williams can find a ball in the gap, you got to think Makowitz is going to come around and score. The 1-1 from Leach on the outside. Novak working it back in, but home plate umpire still says no dice. It's 2-1. Leach set, checks on the runner at second. Chopped over to Applewick, only plays to first, throws it over to Parker Lester. Great speed of Williams, but not there in time. The stretch from Lester gets the 3rd and final out, so Toledo threatens with 2 runners on, getting back to the top half of the order. But hanging another 0, the RedHawks do. We head to the bottom half of the 8th. 6 outs left for Miami. You're watching Love and Honor Live. Welcome back to McKee Field at Hayden Park. Miami up at the plate. 5, 6, 7. Cooper Weiss, David Novak, Tommy Harrison due up for the RedHawks. They're down 4-2, trailing 2 runs here in the final 2 frames of this ballgame. McCune back out for another inning of work. McCune has looked sharp coming out of the bullpen. And Cooper Weiss, his first pitch swinging. Mason Sykes loses it. It's a foul ball. Looked like he was camped underneath the ball. Takes 3 steps back, hits off the heel of his glove. And Cooper Weiss is going to have new life in the batter's box. It's that wind can get the best of you here in the early part of the year. Weiss awaits the 0-1, flares it down the right field line. Chance for a play out for Garrett Pike. But it goes foul. Weiss, if you recall, his last time up, thought he had a home run. Get a nice little pip job that just fell short off the outfield wall. 0-2 to the starting shortstop for the RedHawks.
Do you ever think
Misses. 1-2.
And showing a little bit of power. Did it on that last foul ball the opposite way as well. That was out to left, that near home run ball, but pushing it up the line in right field as well.
Working away from Weiss. He waves at the slider on the outside. 1 up, 1 down here in the bottom half of the 8th. You got a power pitcher on the mound, and just the way that Toledo is aligning themselves defensively, every batter they have a shift on, every single batter. And with a power pitcher, you got to start thinking, can I get something on the outside half to send it into the right center field? If you hit it hard, not even in the gap, you just have to put it on a line to the right side of the field, and you might have extra bases as David Novak finds himself in an 0-2. And they're working the outside of the half with that fastball and that slider. Here comes the 0-2. Fastball upstairs. Novak chases. 2 Ks for McHugh.
5 strikeouts in 2 2/3 innings in relief. Not bad.
Not bad at all. Here's Tommy Harrison. Harrison swinging at the first pitch he sees. 0 for 3 on the day. Harrison taking the 0-1 for a called strike, and now you're seeing Dante DiCello jogging from third base over to the middle part of the field. The 0-2. Tommy Harrison off the handle, hits a 1-hopper out to Fry. Mason Sykes retreats over to first base. A 4-3 putout. We head to the 9th. It's 4-2 here on Chatterbox Sports. Do or die time. 9th inning. 4-2 our score. Remouse on the call here with Luke West-Pollard. Luke, seeing a lot of zeros up on the board after the first 3 innings. Saw 6 runs. The previous 5 have seen a big old goose egg, 0. Toledo looking to add on here in the top half of the 9th. And they've got 2, 3, 4. Garrett Pike, Owen Jackson, and Mason Sykes.
This is Pike, his first time facing off against Leach, final batter to do so. Leach has kind of had his starts be indicative of how a lot of his at-bats have gone on the mound. He's gotten out in front. Things have gone really well for him.
He's got a 2-1 count here against Garrett Pike, who's working on an 0 for 4. Leach can't get that breaking ball to come back down to earth. It's 3-1. The 3-1. Fouled straight back. Fastball on the inside half, and you got to think Hudson Leach is going to come back with that heater. The payoff pitch to Garrett Pike. Slider. Gets Pike to come up empty, and another strikeout for Leach. Sharp slider there from Hudson Leach. In 2 1/3 innings of work, that's 4 strikeouts. The first strikeout he got in relief work was against this man right here, the left-handed swinging Owen Jackson.
14 strikeouts now total for this Miami staff on the day.
Owen Jackson check swings. And if that would have been about 8 feet to the right, that's a double for Owen Jackson with this shift the way that it is. The 0-1. Fastball misses on the outside. 2-1, and Leach asking, where'd that miss? Leach. Owen Jackson sends this for a ride. Forget about it. Owen Jackson erases an 0 for 4 with a big fly. And a much-needed insurance run here in the top half of the 9th inning. It's 5-2.
Yeah, that was a rocket. Wasn't hit too high, but you could tell off the bat where that was going to end up in the netting beyond the right field fence. Jackson extends his Toledo lead to 3.
I don't know what went further, the ball or the bat flip afterwards. Chuck that thing practically over the first base dugout.
Almost a 1.2 OPS for him coming into this game. That's his 6th home run of the season. Breaks a tie for the team lead.
But it wasn't the first home run of the game for Toledo. That came off the bat of Mason Sykes. He's at the plate right now. 3 for 4, home run, 2 singles. Leach misses outside. And it's 1-1. One's a breaking ball in there for a called strike. Swung on and missed. Leach sends Sykes packing. So now it's Brian Fry. Fry struggling at the dish today. He's got the hat trick. And he swings at the first pitch fastball from Hudson Leach.
Golden sombrero on the line.
Never want to go home with one of those. I've had many fights with my dad about what a golden sombrero is. I feel like it's Groundhog Day every time we talk about it. He thinks that a golden sombrero is 3 strikeouts, and I have to constantly remind him, Dad, it is 4. And I'm telling you, at least 24 times, and that is going to be a golden sombrero for Brian Fry. Swings at the pitch and the turf. Toledo tags on one more run off the big fly from Owen Jackson. We head to the bottom half of the 9th, and the RedHawks have their work cut out for them. Stay tuned. You're watching Love and Honor Live on Chatterbox Sports. 8-9-1, 2 up for Miami. Gonna need 3 runs to tie it, 4 runs to win it. McCune out there to close this game out. Here we go. We're gonna have a pinch hitter. Here in the 9th. Actually, it's gonna be Brian Zapp up again. Zapp, his last time, struck out swinging. Takes the first pitch for a called strike before taking the second to run the count to 1-1. McCune kicks. Zapp fouls it back.
Looks like we're getting a pinch hitter on deck as well for Miami.
Yeah, that's Nate Stone on deck. So we'll get to him in a moment. But Zapp awaits the 1-2. Slider misses up. 2-2. Toledo's infield playing straight up against Zapp. Fastball misses outside. Zapp doing a nice job at working the count full. Can he lead this inning off with a base runner? Here comes the payoff. In the turf. Zapp does a nice job leading off this 9th inning.
Get these lefties up to the plate.
So Nate Stone, you mentioned it. Pinch hitting here for Dylan Baker. Stone has struggled to begin this season. Through 19 trips to the plate, just 1 hit. He is getting on base at about 30% of the time. So a difference of 250 points between his batting average and his on-base percentage. Stone, an everyday player 2 seasons ago, was injured early on in the year. He pops this up in the infield. Dante DiCello fighting the wind, tracking to his left and making the first out. So first pitch swinging off the bench is Stone, and he gives Toledo the first out of the inning. So now we'll see Evan Applewick. Applewick has done a nice job at the top of the order for the RedHawks this season. Looking to see if he can keep it going. First pitch taken. The slider. Sharp slider from McCune. The 0-1. Checks on the runner. Kicks. Deals. Fouled straight back against the netting here in front of us. 0-2. The 0-2 misses on the outside. Applewick has reached base in 3 of his 4 plate appearances, all via the walk. Long way from that here on the 1-2 offering from McCune. Checks the runner, kicks, deals. Fastball over the zone. Applewick fouls it over the first base dugout. We'll do it once again here at 1-2. Short lead for Zapp over at first. Nowhere to go down 3. Slider, tight, but outside. 2-2. Checks on the runner, comes set, gets the sign from White. The kick, the deal. Popped up into center field. Makowitz not having to go far to be underneath that. He gloves it for the second out, and we'll see Benji Brokmund for his 5th trip to the plate today. Down to the final out, backs against the wall for Miami. Toledo looking to get their first win in the Mid-America Conference opener. Miami looking to scrounge their way as Benji Brokman continues on his hit streak in his 5th at-bat to the plate. I'm sure that's the least of his worries right now, but it feels nice to get another hit. Took all 5 at-bats, but he got it. But most importantly, Zach McDonald comes to the plate, down 3. 1 barreled up ball can tie this game. McCune's first pitch on the outside for a called strike. The 0-1 from McCune as he comes set, gets the sign from White. White lining up on the outside half of the plate. Misses in the turf. McDonald slugging .640 on the season. The 3rd highest on the team. Only trailing Cooper Weiss and Ryland Zaborowski. Wind blowing from the left field foul pole to the right field. McDonald fouls it straight back. Just barely got a piece. On deck is Parker Lester. Only thing really going through McDonald's mind right now is keeping the inning alive. Miami down not only to their final out, but the final strike. The 1-2 from McCune. A fastball sent to center field. Makowitz retreating back to the warning track, but it won't have enough. Went to the deepest part of the park, right at the 400 mark. But Makowitz will have it for the 3rd and final out. Zach McDonald sent it for a ride, but the game is concluded 5-2. Toledo takes the first game of this 3-game series. Luke, was a roller coaster at the beginning of this one. 4 runs in the 2nd inning for Toledo. They get the insurance run there in the 9th off the bat of Owen Jackson. But Miami, after threatening through the first 3 frames, really never got the offense started back up.
Yeah, I think you're pretty happy with how your pitching performed in this game. I thought that it was really good what Hudson Leach did out of the bullpen. Seeing Connor Oliver go 6 complete innings was solid, but yeah, like you said, you leave an outlier inning out there early in the game, which the RedHawks have done in a lot of games this season. And like you said, you just fail to finish the job over and over and over again, and just might have had a kind of wearing down effect on this Miami team as you get into those later innings. You had guys in scoring position often in the middle innings of this one and just couldn't put one across when you needed it. And you end up coming up empty in the final 6 innings of the game. So, you know, this has not been a typical game that we're used to for seeing for the RedHawks. We've seen a lot higher scores generally in both score columns. It's been the bats that have kind of gotten things done for the RedHawks so far this season. But MAC opener, tough one obviously to drop. I think there are things you can take away from it that are good. But like you said, just need to get a little more offense strung together rather than just kind of the one-offs that we saw early on in this game.
You're absolutely right. And, you know, looking at some of the scores that you've seen from Miami, you get to the weekend series, they're going to keep having these lower scores with Connor Oliver throwing the way he did. If it wasn't for that 4-run 2nd inning, he was very, very sharp. And the scoreboard almost looks like binary code minus that 4-run 2nd inning by Toledo. But Connor Oliver gets slapped with the L. Noah Johnson gets the win for Toledo. Toledo increases their record to 7-5. Miami falls to 2-12 on the season. But that does it from us here at McKee Field at Hayden Park. We'll be back tomorrow. The game time is slated for 2 p.m. But this is us signing off here on Love and Honor Live. I'm Reed Mouse. Join along with Luke Westpoli. And Luke, it was an honor calling with you. Enjoy doing it again tomorrow. So 5-2 our final score. We'll see you tomorrow here on Chatterbox Sports.